From the Israel Sports Radio studios in Jerusalem, Israel, our nation's capital, it's Louis Live. There's your host, me, and Raphael Geller. How you doing, Raphael?
I'm good. I'm moving tonight, so it's going to be a hectic night in the Geller household, but happy to be here before the hecticness. That's where it starts.
So by this Shabbat, you'll be in your new place?
Yes, we hope so, yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Even closer to here, Ari.
Right, it's right around here.
Right.
Excellent.
Or maybe I shouldn't announce it on air.
All your fans will come and stalk you.
Right.
Have a big stalking party. We have a great show tonight. Max Unger will come on in a few minutes. He was drafted by the Washington Nationals, so we'll talk to him about that great accomplishment. And before we get into that, though, I want to bring up this story that was talked about. John Sterling, we know that he likes to make different cute, cheesy comments. When Alex Rodriguez hits a home run, he says an A-Rod, an A-bomb from A-Rod, A-Royd, whatever. Max Teixeira sent a text message, all this good stuff. He made a call about Ichiro's home run that some have complained about. Some have said it is controversial. They don't like it. So we're going to play it right here on the air. This is thanks to our friends at Yahoo Sports Minute for talking about it.
Hey everyone, I'm Angela Sun. Welcome to the Yahoo Sports Minute. John Sterling is known for his outlandish home run calls. But did the longtime Yankee radio announcer cross the line for Ichiro's first long ball in pinstripes? Take a listen.
Deals. Swung on and hit in the air to deep right. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. In the second deck, Ichiro, the Yankees' rising sun, says sayonara.
Racially insensitive? Maybe.
Okay.
Questionable?
So
Wait
Yes.
a minute.
Cheesy.
That's controversial?
I know that's what I was about to say. That's absurd. Let me explain something, okay? I'm going to do this. I'll pretend I'm John Sterling and Raphael is playing for the Yankees. Now, Raphael might not like that idea, obviously, because they're the Yankees.
The Blue Jays.
But we'll do it the Yankees anyways.
All right, let's do it.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. The dealer, Raphael, swings the ball high, deep to center field, and it is gone. The Yankees, Star of David. Salami's at home. Put some rye bread and mustard. It's a home run, and the Yankees go up 5-4. See, that wouldn't be such a big deal. Big deal.
Right. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's not lying. I am the star. I would be the Star of David. In America, there's all these problems with culture that you're not allowed to say the truth sometimes because it's offensive.
That's why I like boxing more, because boxing is very ethnic sport, and they have nicknames that talk about their ethnicity, and it's okay. Like Rocky is the Italian Stallion. And Dimitri Salita's nickname is the Star of David, by the way, speaking of Star of David. So that seems to be okay. They acknowledge what's going on. If the people talk about how they look, the Golden Boy, or the Pretty Boy with Floyd Mayweather Jr., El Feroz, that's Fernando Vargas's nickname. So I like that kind of stuff. And the rising sun, that is a positive. The flag of Japan is a rising sun. So it's not a derogatory term. He's describing what it is. And the rising sun, it fits with a home run because it rises. And he says sayonara. Sayonara means goodbye. Goodbye to the baseball. It's in the stands. So I don't understand why it's such a big deal. People are too oversensitive to this kind of stuff. Now, the comment that was made about Jeremy Lin a few months ago when he had a bad game and they said chink in the armor, that was inappropriate because that word is a racial slur and it's derogatory. So that's not good. If I were to say Raphael was the kike player of the year or whatever, that would be inappropriate because that's a racial slur. But Star of David is something positive, and the rising sun is something positive. So Sterling has said a lot of, I don't want to say dumb things, but cute things, or he tries to steal the show. If you want to get him on that, that's a whole other issue. But that wasn't a big deal at all. John Sterling, if that's the worst you got, then you're doing fine. So that's what I want to say about that. Let's call our first guest. And as I mentioned before, at the beginning of the program, he got drafted by the Washington Nationals. Now, in baseball, it is common to, I don't want to say common, but it does happen that you can be drafted and then go to college. So it's not for sure that you got to come out and play right away. Also, many times you spend a long, long time in the minors. So it's different than being drafted in the NBA or the NFL. But we'll talk to Max about his plans. We're told, by the way, Max is a very nice kid, and his personality is not your typical athlete. He's not arrogant or showy or show off, if you will. So don't be alarmed or surprised when you hear Max talk in a more humble manner, more quiet manner. He's just a good kid. Hi, am I speaking with Max?
Yes.
Hi, Max. This is Ari Louis. You're live on the air on Louis Live on Israel Sports Radio. How you doing out there?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
We're doing great. Thank you for being on the program. And like I told our audience before we brought you on, a huge accomplishment to be drafted into Major League Baseball and by the Nationals. So give us the details as far as actually finding out you were drafted. Did you get a phone call? Were you there at the draft? Tell us all about that, because it's a very exciting moment in your life.
It's actually, thank you very much. It was a really exciting moment. It's kind of a funny story. I was on my way to Denison for college orientation, and I was driving the car, and my mom was sitting next to me, and we were listening to the music or something, and the phone starts to ring, and I looked on the phone. We were like in the middle of West Virginia or something. I looked on my phone, and I saw that it was a 301 number, which is like my area code. So I thought, oh, maybe, this is somebody I know or something. I should probably pick this up. So I pick up the phone. Of course, my mom's yelling at me because I'm driving the car and talking on the phone at the same time, which, is never a good thing. And I pick up the phone, and I just hear, hi, this is the Washington Nationals. We just want to let you know we're going to be drafting you in about 10 minutes, so you should tune in to the online broadcast to listen up. So
Wow.
I'm like, oh, wow, thank you so much. I'm just freaking out. I don't know really what to say. And start swerving the car a little bit, on people are honking at me and, swerving past me. And so I hung up the phone, and me and my mom just, we went crazy for a little bit, and we started calling all these people. And like, oh, we got to pull off the road because this is just not safe. And so we called a bunch of people, and we pulled off the road at some gas station, and that was pretty much the story. It was really incredible. I was not expecting it at all, and
Well, actually, that's what I was going to ask you my next question, because you're a very accomplished high school baseball player. I mean, the accomplishments list go on and on. 3 years varsity baseball. You were the number one pitcher for the varsity team your freshman year. You're a great batter as well, 545 your junior year, captain of the team your junior year, just on and on and on. So did anyone whisper in your ear throughout your high school career, hey, you can do this, you can be drafted into the major leagues? When did those thoughts, were they ever said to you? And if so, when in your high school career?
They were never really, I never thought it would be possible, and I don't think my family, they always kind of told me, I would always be like, hey, one day I'll get drafted, and they told me, yeah, sure you will, Max. And, there was only really one person who really told me that I could do it, and that was probably my high school baseball coach, Steve Forstieri. He was really, he really had a lot of confidence in me, and he knew that, I could really do big things, and, I owe a lot of my success to him because he was a really great mentor, really good coach.
Now, what's it like because this is something I can't really relate to, Max, because I played chess in high school, so it wasn't exactly the big man on campus, if you will, but tell us what it's like when you're a baseball star in high school. Classmates treat you better, differently. There's probably some jealousy as well. Sometimes you might see some of that. So how are your classmates treating you when you're this great baseball star at your high school?
My classmates are some of my best friends in the world, and I don't think they treated me really any different after I got drafted. They were all proud of me, and, we all hung out and everything afterwards. And I just spent, 3 months with them in Israel, so because our school goes on that trip, the 3-month trip to Israel. So, I'm really close with them. And when it happened, they were just, super happy for me. But they're still, the same exact friends that they were before it happened. And as far as while I was in school still, people knew that I was good at baseball and everything, but I don't think it was like I was, better than anybody else. I would walk around and I would just be friends with everyone. I didn't want to make it seem like, I was some sort of super athlete just walking around campus, but thinking I'm better than everyone. I was pretty much, just one of the guys.
And you mentioned the trip to Israel for 3 months. Was that through Alexander Moss?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about that trip. I've known a lot of people have gone on it. They say they had a great time. Tell us what you did here in Israel.
Well, it was a 3-month trip, which is a longer trip than they usually do. They do it specifically for our school. So pretty much we get there and we do all the regular things that like the birthright trips do and most of the camp trips do and stuff. We travel around Israel, going to the main sites like the Wall, and we go up north for a few days, and we do some touring stuff. And then we're over there over Pesach, so we had Pesach break, and I saw some of my family down there, and I went on a little hike in the Negev for that, and then we came back and we did a volunteer period. Actually, it was a 3-week volunteer period where I was on Kibbutz Sde Eliyahu, and I was working in the fields and, getting to know the community there, and it was a lot of fun. And then we came back and did a little bit more traveling, went down south to Eilat for a few days, and came back and went home. It was just an amazing trip, really amazing trip. It was my first time in Israel, so it was really cool.
Now, with that trip, because when you're in high school playing baseball, you might be known, hey, that's the baseball guy, and you're kind of typecast, if you will. In Israel, you kind of get to be, even though you're around the same people from high school, you kind of get to be a different person. Most people don't know who you are. What was that like to be in Israel and kind of learn about yourself a little more, explore who you are, your roots, your background, all that type of stuff?
It was really, really cool. We in my school we learn a lot about Israel and a lot about our Jewish history and stuff like that. And then to actually go to Israel and to be able to see all these sites and travel around the country and really get a feel for the land. I mean, it's really cool. My expectations were so much less, but I got so much out of the trip from the trip, and I learned a lot about our heritage and, just being there, seeing the people and meeting people there. I think that was like a big part of it. There's a different attitude in Israel. I don't know if it has to do with that everyone has to go to the army or just, all fighting that's always going on there. But there's just really a really tough attitude in Israel, and, we hope some of it rubbed off on us when we came back.
Absolutely. Speaking with Max Unger, who was drafted by the Washington Nationals. Now, Max, as I told our audience before you came on the program, being drafted in Major League Baseball is different than in the NBA or the National Football League because there's some options for you. A lot of times people are drafted in Major League Baseball, then they go to college, they play there for a while or for 3 years, then go in the major leagues. Have you decided what you want to do at this point in regards to your education?
Yeah, I'm going to be heading over to Denison University to play baseball for the next 4 years.
Okay. So that's the plan, to do that for 4 years. And if you notify the Nationals, and then after the 4 years, do you go back in the draft again, or or do you just go with the Nationals?
So pretty much what the process is after your junior year of college, you can enter back into the draft, and you get drafted again by any other team. So if I wanted to, after my junior year, I could get drafted again by the Nationals and sign with them and then skip my last year of college. But I think I'm planning on getting my degree before I try and pursue a professional career. So I'll probably, after I graduate, enter back into the draft and then see, how far that can take me.
All right. Now, as I mentioned, a great pitcher and a great batter. Do you know, or do you have a particular desire what position you want to play in college at Edison?
Yeah, I would really like to catch, because that's been, for the past couple of years, my main position and something that I really worked hard on, making it one of my best attributes as a player. So I would really like to catch. I worked a lot on my first base this summer, so probably catch and play first base, and those will probably be my main position. But I got drafted as a catcher, so hopefully I can stick with that and just, continuously just get better.
Hi, Max. It's Rafael Geller. Thank you for joining us on the program today. I wanted to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
I wanted to know, you went on that high school program your senior year. Were you able to play high school baseball your senior year?
I was able to play. Well, I didn't play for my school, obviously, because we were overseas, and high school baseball is in the spring. So while we were in Israel, me and one of my good friends, Josh Singer, who's worked with me with baseball and a lot of other stuff too. We tried to get some work in as often as we could while we were on the trip. So, we would be working out and trying to get, good exercise in and everything. And then as far as baseball goes, we probably threw 3 or 4 times while we were over there. We were really busy with our schedule, so we didn't have much free time, but tried to throw 3 or 4 times and probably hit once or twice while we were over there, but it was really limited. But I think it was well worth it because the experience that we had over there was more of a mental toughness,
Yeah, and speaking of Israel, I wanted to ask you your thoughts on all the buzz and hype about the Israel national baseball team competing in the tournament this summer to qualify for the World Baseball Classic next March. Have you been reading about that?
I have. I've been reading and seeing a few things in the news about that. Actually, I don't know if it was a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, I saw in the New York Times a picture of Brad Ausmus at the wall with, and it was like the same guy who was putting on his tefillin as the guy who put on my tefillin when I was there. So that's kind of a cool thing to see. But it's really exciting that they're getting the baseball classic over there because baseball in Israel, it's not huge, but there's definitely some sort of a market there, and people could definitely get into it. So.
Right, yeah.
Really
Kevin Youkilis, I believe, was just approached last week by the association. They're trying to convince him, but of course, we have to qualify for the tournament in September before we make it to the baseball classic. But I wanted to ask you mentioned Brad Ausmus, probably the best Jewish catcher of all time, maybe Mo Berg back in the days. You being a catcher yourself, have you thought about, hey, maybe I go to college a few years and maybe one day I can be on the Israel national baseball team and learn from the leadership of Brad Ausmus?
I thought a little bit about it. Right now, most of my baseball endeavors are sort of in the States and sort of more directed towards my college, athletics and possibly beyond that. So I haven't thought so much about trying to go that route yet. But it's definitely a possibility, It seems like their program is going in the right direction, and maybe in a few years when I'm older, I could check it out and see what that does for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I know they're looking for youth and talent right now, and that would be great to see you there. The next thing I wanted to ask you about, it's pretty cool. I know you're very into health and fitness, so I kind of want you to tell our listeners about this internet website that you've started with your friend.
Yeah, sure. It's a website called cavemancollege.com, and what we do is we sort of put out a lot of information to college students and to really anybody who wants to see about eating healthy and good fitness while you're in school, how you can deal with all the stresses of school and social stresses and classes and everything and time restraints and still be a healthy, fit person. And pretty much what we like to advocate for the paleo diet, which is pretty much a diet that consists of, eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and proteins and good animal fats and stuff like that. And we just started the website a few months ago, but it's definitely doing well. We just got a big interview from Mark Sisson, who runs a very big website on health and nutrition. And so it's hopefully gonna make some people make some good changes in their lifestyle while they're in college.
Yeah, I think that's something that's very important for Americans in college. Maybe Ari can follow up on that since he went to college in America.
Yeah, well, college is a time. I mean, your freshman year, you can really do bad things to your body if you're drinking a lot, partying.
Freshman 15.
Freshman 15 is the saying there.
Yeah.
So it's very good that you're doing this website. What kind of sparked you to actually? Because it's one thing to believe in something and to practice it, but what sparked you to actually make a website for this idea?
I think me and my friend have been doing this diet for about a year or so, and we saw some really, really good improvements both in our physical abilities and our athletics, and even our academics improved a little bit. And our friends have they hear us talking about it and they're interested, but it's hard for us to sort of really get them into it and really put all of the information out there. So the website's just it started as our way to sort of tell our friends and our family exactly, what diet is, how it works, and, how they can make the changes just really easily and just become, a more healthy, happy person. So we've been doing a lot of research and sort of reading up a bunch on dieting and health and fitness, and we had a great trainer, Blair Donovan, who helped us out. And then we just decided one day, hey, it'd be really cool to start, a blog about this, just so our friends and family would know more information about what we're doing. And then it just sort of took off from there. We started talking to some bigger names, and people really told us that, they really liked the website, and just thought that, there's just a huge market out there in terms of all the college kids, all the universities and everything can all relate to this. And so, we're just going to see how far we can take the website, because we think it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, no, and I think that you guys are just what you started. You said a few months ago. I think maybe in a year you guys could have a huge fan base, because it's something like I said, really, really important. The next thing I wanted to discuss, you were honored with being selected as a preseason Under Armour All-American. That's an amazing accomplishment. What did it feel like when you found out that you received that honor?
Sorry, what was that last question?
I was saying you were honored as a preseason Under Armour All-American. I wanted to know what that felt like when you first heard the news.
Yeah. The preseason All-American was a really cool accomplishment to have, just because I've been working with Baseball Factory, which is the company that runs the tournament. I've been working with them since I was a freshman in high school, and it was just a really cool sort of way to wrap up my time with Baseball Factory, just having them invite me out to the preseason Under Armour All-American. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go because I think it was right during our graduation or finals week or something. And it was the tournament is mostly it's really just an honor type thing. It's not really for recruiting or anything like that. So it wasn't exactly worth it for me to go, but it was just a really cool honor to get. And it was also when one of our administration, who was giving a speech at our graduation, she mentioned that I was selected to that. So that was just really cool thing to have.
And then my last question for you: you went to a Jewish private school. Did you ever have any thought on the back of your mind? Maybe I should go to a public school. I can get more exposure. I live in the D.C., Baltimore area. A lot of more scouts. Did you ever think that maybe you should be in a big public school?
I did, actually. When I was deciding to go where to go to high school after my 8th grade year, I really wanted to go to the public school, which is right around the corner from us. Who has, they have a pretty decent baseball program. It's definitely better than our athletic program, because our athletic program is very small. And my parents just decided, well, they didn't decide, but they encouraged me to stay at JDS just because, I think they really wanted me to get a Jewish education, and they thought that, there was a good friend base there. And so, yeah, they encouraged me to stay, but it was my decision in the end. And, I decided to stay also. And I think it definitely paid off with the trip and all the really close friends that I made. And yeah.
All right, Max, we have to run, but we certainly appreciate your time here in the program. You sound like a very nice kid and with a promising career, whether it's in sports or web design or a website or something to that effect. Whatever you do, I'm sure you're going to be very successful, and we appreciate the time. And only the best from here forward. Continued success, my friend.
All right, thank you so much. Good to talk to you guys.
All right, be well, Max.
Thanks, Max.
All right, that was Max Unger, who was drafted by the Washington Nationals, and his plans right now are to go to college at Edison for 4 years, and then he'll re-enter the draft. And you never know what could happen at that point. In his college career, he could take off and get drafted higher, or he can go to college and not be able to handle the college pitches so well. A lot of times people do well in high school and they can't hit the curveball in college.
Right.
And they decide baseball is not for them, and they go to something else. In fact, MC Hammer did that. That's why he's called MC Hammer, because he was the bat boy for the Athletics. They gave him that nickname because of Hammer and Hank Aaron. And he had a dream of being a baseball player. When he got to college, he couldn't hit a curveball, so he went into rapping. President Bush wanted to play baseball. He went to college baseball, couldn't hit the curveball, became president.
Right. The thing to note, though, Ari, is that the difference between college baseball, college football is you can go to a small school like Denison and still get drafted. I mean, if you look at a lot of all-time greats in baseball, a lot of them went to well-known community colleges or
Kurt Schilling.
Right, Kurt Schilling, I was going to say. So, I mean, just because I know people are listening out there and saying, why didn't he go to an LSU or a Texas or a big school like that? He can still be fine. I mean, it's baseball, they send scout. I mean, scouting in baseball, I think, is probably the most, trying to think of a good word. Scouting is baseball. I mean, in basketball, there's scouts per team, but in baseball, you have millions of scouts for one team. In basketball, it's not like that. In NBA, you have, I think, maybe 5 to 10. But in baseball, you have one for double A and triple A and single A and before single A in college and high school. So, Max, we wish you luck if you're still listening. And maybe one day you will suit up for the Israel national team.
And like I said, a nice young man, because a lot of athletes, especially when they're young like that and they have success early, they get kind of cocky and they don't go back to their humble roots. He wants to get better and better. That's why he started that diet, and he said he saw improvement in his senior year. So good for him. Kudos for him to come into Israel as well. Big merit he was able to do that, and we appreciate his time on the program. We're going to take a commercial break, but Raphael, please tell us what's on the other side.
We have a basketball commentator, well-known basketball commentator from Serbia. So this is an international week. Ilya Kovac, I believe. And he is a sports commentator for Sport Club, which is, I believe, I think it's a big television station or a radio station in Serbia. So we're going to talk about the finals, just because we haven't in a while. Maybe a little Olympic talk, Team USA, My Little Spain theories, and everything else. So we'll be back after the commercial.
This is Louis live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
This is Tamar Cass, and you're listening to Israel Sports Radio.
Shalom from the United States. I'm Gina Pitts.
Parrish Graham.
Mike Pitts. Roosevelt Hall.
Mike Roy.
We're your friends from the Pro Sports Lives radio show on WAFS Biz 1190 AM. You're listening to Louis Live.
Broadcasting live from Israel. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Sports Drain Seat C, compression fit, UV protection, moisture wicking, anti-odor, and physique enhancing. Certified by the Circle K. Sports Drains is a revolutionary seat garment that features high-performance properties and a compression fit, offering the wearer ultimate comfort and style for sports and everyday wear. Custom logos and team jerseys are available. For orders, please visit TamirGoodman.com. That's TamirGoodman.com.
Broadcasting live from Jerusalem, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Support Barak Netanya, Israeli professional basketball team, as they give back to the children of Netanya through Netanya Hoops for Kids. Netanya Hoops for Kids serves all of the children of Netanya, especially the ones that need us most. Through basketball clinics held by professional players, at-risk children learn life skills like teamwork, communication, discipline, and community responsibility from real-life heroes. Netanya Hoops for Kids partners with the municipality, schools, and local nonprofits to bring thousands of children to basketball games each season. Join us as a donor, partner, or fan. One city, one team, one family. www.netanyahoopsforkids.org.
The biggest names in sports are all on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music, and DJ Venom will turn your event to the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
This is Dimitri Salita, and you're listening to IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Building love of Israel, one sports fan at a time. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here on Louis Live on Israel Sports Radio, our thanks again to Max Unger, who was drafted by the Washington Nationals. We're now going to talk some European hoops. Of course, the Olympics in full effect. USA team, not looking the best they could be. I would say LeBron James says there's room for improvement, but had a good dominance performance over France, and the squad they're in is not so competitive. They only have a couple teams they have to worry about. France is one of them. They took care of that.
Hi,
Hello, Rafael.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing great. You?
Good. Thank you for joining us on Louis Live on Israel Sports Radio. And I'm here with my co-host, Ari Louis. I want to introduce himself.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing okay. You?
Doing great. Thank you for being on the program today.
And
thank you for calling me.
Absolutely. Sure. We want to start off and talk about Olympics. Of course, Team USA is doing pretty well. They beat France pretty handily. But I want you to tell our listeners about some European teams that we should look out for that have the potential to maybe, who knows, maybe even beat the U.S.
Well, I think the United States team are doing great, and before the Olympic tournament started, I don't like those comparison between the original Dream Team and this team, but I don't think that since that 1992 team and maybe later in 1996 in the Olympics in the Atlanta, I don't think that there hasn't been so dominant team in the Olympics basketball tournament, and I think that this team will go all the way to the gold with easy as first Dream Team went. They play great basketball. It's unbelievable how easy they beat France, and when you look at the France team with so many NBA players and so experienced, you wouldn't understand that those NBA guys from the Dream Team play awesome basketball. I mean, it wasn't just the basketball for the result, for the score. It was basketball for the viewers. So many alley-oops, so many dunks, great defense. It was like the best possible NBA. And I didn't see that happen. Like if you look at 10 years ago, let's just talk about Indianapolis World Championship in 2002, when the Americans didn't win for the first time when they sent the NBA players. I didn't see that happen, but all of a sudden in the NBA they start looking differently, and you have a great new wave with all those guys who came to the league with LeBron James, with Dwayne Wade, before Kobe Bryant, and they play really great basketball, and I think that they will win so dominant this tournament.
Yeah, no, and they've played so well. There's a lot of great veterans on this team. I wanted to ask you, you're from Serbia, of course. What happened to all those great Serbian teams with Peja Stojakovic and Vlade Divac? Where is the Serbian national basketball team now, and what's going on with them?
Yeah, well, I think that that World Championship that I mentioned in 2002, that was the last time that Serbian national team did something good in some great tournaments. They won silver medal in Poland in 2009. They were fourth in the World Championship in Turkey in 2010. But the biggest problem with Serbia national team is that we have no longer good players who are the leaders in great teams. We have some players in the NBA. We have some players in great EuroLeague teams, but they are not leader as we used to have them. You couldn't imagine Sacramento Kings playing without Peja, without Vlade.
Right.
I mean, the Chris Webber was the number one player of that team, but without Peja and without Vlade, that was not the same Sacramento Kings. And now you don't have players like that. We have. Let's just say, like Miloš Teodosic is a great player, but he is Nenad Krstić also. But you don't have any more players like, let's say, Dejan Bodiroga, who was the dominant player, Sasha Đorđević, and all those kind of players. The problem is in Serbia, kids like to match with the successful sports players, And when basketball was popular, we had good basketball players. Nowadays, tennis is number one sport in Serbia, definitely. And we had number one player, Novak Djokovic. We had number one players in female tennis, Ana Ivanovic, and maybe in the next 5 years we will have more and more tennis players. For basketball, I don't think that we need to get maybe new generation of players who can provide us the great success we had for almost a decade since 1995 till 2002, and before in former Yugoslavia for 2 decades we had great players and great teams.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that 2002 Basketball World Championship because I was there. I saw the USA play.
I was there also. Maybe we chat over there sometimes, and we didn't know it was you, or you didn't know it was me.
Yeah, I remember watching the USA beat Algeria. The score was 100-50, and I remember Germany playing China, and it was right before Yao Ming was getting drafted, so they wouldn't let him play. But Dirk had, I think, 28 points, and the Germany won. So that was just funny that you mentioned that. I want to move on now to the EuroLeague, European basketball. Last year, the Final Four was very exciting. Of course, in Israel, we were disappointed that Maccabi couldn't advance to it. But still, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about this year's Final Four, or this year's EuroLeague? Who do you expect to do well? Maccabi has a lot of new faces. A lot of guys left the team. What about Moscow? What about Panathinaikos? What do you expect from all the powerhouse teams going into this season?
Yeah, well, I can say I was the lucky guy to be in Istanbul and to do the broadcast for the Final Four and to do that amazing final game between Olympiacos and CSK Moscow. And I during those broadcasts, when I spoke about the Final Four, I said, okay, we need next season to get Final Six because those 4 teams were so good, and you had 2 more teams, Maccabi and Montepaschi Siena, who should be in the final tournament. So basically, 1 game should decide, or 2 games should decide who would win. More than 4 teams needed to be in the Final Four. Maccabi had a great season, but it's just the luck, and I assume that luck was something that Olympiacos had at that Final Four tournament. Luck plus great coach Dusan Ivković, who did great job in the semifinal, made terrific job. Doing the great job doing the tactics for that game, and when you talk about the finals, it's pure luck. I mean, nobody could imagine at the beginning of the season that Olympiacos will go that far. Nobody could imagine that Olympiacos could even win the EuroLeague, but from the first day, my favorite, I mean not favorite, but I said CSK will go all the way to the end because they had it's so fascinating that when you build a team and you bring in let's say three great superstars, they bring in Krstic, they bring in Kirilenko, they bring in Teodosic. And when you bring those kind of players, you need, let's just say, maybe half a season, maybe even full season to things start clicking the right way. But with CSK, I think the first game, when they play first game, the opening game of the season, you saw the team that has capability to win all the way. It was so impressive the way they played, the way they when you say they are playing basketball, they enjoy playing basketball, and it was great basketball they show all the way through the season. And in the finals, forget about second half. When you just watch the first half, they had I think it was double digits, almost 20 points for CSK in the first half. So they didn't have that luck. I mean, the luck was on the Olympiacos side. I don't think that the title is valid for the Olympiacos. They deserve it. I mean, it's a game of basketball, but they will have now a big problem because every time you search for the champions and you go to get his head. So basically now Olympiacos will not have that good team this season, and everyone will have extra motivation to play against them. So I think Olympiacos this season will have problem to go to the top 16 phase of the EuroLeague.
Interesting, yeah. And as you mentioned, Andrei Kirilenko goes back to Minnesota Timberwolves, so he will not be a part of the team. He was a huge, amazing part of the EuroLeague. It was so great watching him back in Russia. But I got to tell you, I like some of the moves that CSK has made. I like Sonny Weems. He's played in Israel a couple of times, so I've gone to see him. Drew Nichols is a veteran guy. So we'll see. I think you're right. They're definitely not going to be as strong as they are next year. But I still think they'll be pretty good. It's kind of like Maccabi. Even when Maccabi doesn't have a very strong year, they're still better than everyone else.
Exactly.
Right.
And good thing. What I like about EuroLeague, they go every season. It's better and it's more interesting. And I like all the moves during the summer. You have so many moves from the team, one team to another. You just can't wait for the season to begin and to watch all those names in new jerseys and to see how will they fit in the in new team. And if you ask me now who will be your favorite for this season, I couldn't pick you one or two team, maybe 6, 7, 8. Look at just at the Fenerbahce. They bought so many players, but the problem with Turkish team, every season they do good in the first part of the season, and then after something happened with them. I don't know what. Maccabi, I hope to be good this season. And I wish them to play good basketball. They will not play Adriatic League, so we will not have the chance to see them more often here in this region.
Right.
But it was a good experience for them. It was good experience for the teams from former Yugoslavia in the Adriatic League to have chance to play against Maccabi. Maybe I would like to see how will Montepaschi go with the new team, with the new coach. I would like to see how now Olympiacos and Panathinaikos will go with new coaches and new teams. We will see how the Spanish teams will go on. So CSK, now you have so many new faces all around Europe, and it will be definitely very, very interesting season.
Oh, definitely, and I think that's what you said. That's what's so amazing about the EuroLeague is so many, one year to another, it's not like any other sport. I mean, you could have a whole new team, you can have a whole new everything, and look, like I said, with Maccabi, they have, I think, 6 new players this year. I mean, they got rid of a lot of guys, and Yogeva Chayon, no one's sure if he's coming back. We're still waiting to hear on that. And they just signed David Logan. So it's going to be really exciting. And yeah, the Adriatic League, I believe, we played a lot of games in Serbia. So that's, I guess for you, that's not going to be good. But for us, it is because let me tell you, playing, I think, 85 games in a year was very difficult for Maccabi, and I don't think they ever thought they wouldn't win the Adriatic League. I was at the Final Four, and they didn't even play that hard. A lot of their players were injured or sitting out, and they still won, I think, the finals by 25 points.
They were very tired,
right?
Because I don't think it's a good way for them. Maybe probably they. First time when they play Adriatic League, they say they didn't like the competition in Israeli League. But all of a sudden, they lost the championship over there, and nobody expected that. But if you look this way, now you will have EuroLeague. You will play 10 games in the first phase in the regular season. Then instead of 6, now you will have 14 games. So basically, from October till Final Four, you will have just 2 weeks without EuroLeague games. So it's pretty hard for the European players. In NBA, they know they prepare for 82 plus playoff games, but in Europe now they will have, let's just say, 24, then quarterfinals. So it's like 30 games in one season, then national championship, national cup. So it's going to be a great number of games for EuroLeague teams.
Yeah, and I honestly believe Maccabi would have been able to beat Panathinaikos in that Game 5 if it wasn't for just being so tired and a difficult season. But yeah, it's going to be an amazing EuroLeague. It's going to be an amazing basketball season. We didn't really have time to get to the NBA. We got to run. But we'd love to have you on again in the future once European basketball starts off in a couple months and once the NBA gets going. How does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds great. I enjoy talking to you, and I enjoy to get the chance to talk to all the basketball and sports fans in Israel. I wish them good luck and wish them all the best in life. And thank you for getting me the chance to talk to you and to present myself to Israeli people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And we wish the best to the Serbian people, the Serbian basketball team. We want them back in the spotlight, so hopefully that happens soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, be well. All right. Great stuff there.
Yeah, that was Ilya Kovac, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but I'm doing the best I can. And he does a lot of stuff in Serbia. You guys heard he did the play-by-play for the Final Four this year, and that's the biggest basketball tournament in the world. So we're very excited to have him on. And, yeah, it's been an international show so far. Monday, Ghana, and then Serbia. What's next? Who knows?
Who knows? It's just a wide roller
Maybe
coaster.
China, maybe Mexico. We'll see.
Yeah, you would know. You would tell me. You booked the guest. So.
Right, that's true. I guess you'll find out.
Yes.
I'll secretly.
It's all a big surprise.
Right.
But, with the Olympics, sticking with the theme of Olympic basketball, LeBron James says that the U.S. team could do better, and you think they're set up for a fail against Spain. Well, I'd like you to elaborate on that a little more.
Right now? Right here?
Sure.
Okay. So this is what I think. I think that, the United States is a very, 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 very talented team. But the one problem is that they can't, a lot of them, it's team dependent on shooting. You can't pass into the big guys and expect them to do things down there. Tyson Chandler is not going to do that. Kevin Love is not a big man. He's a 6'10". He's a Dirk Nowitzki, if you think about it. He gets all the rebounds. He can drive, but he's also a guy, post up, but he's also a guy who shoots threes. So it's kind of like, who's the big man? Where's your Dwight Howard? Where's your Shaq? Where is that? You don't really have that. And if the Americans start to miss shots, they could be in trouble because this Spanish team does have that. They have Sergio Ibaka. They have the Gasol brothers. I mean, they can do that. And, you say that they're guards. Oh, they're not Deron Williams. They're not who's another guard on the team? Russell Westbrook, fine. But they're European guards who are very well known. Carlos Navarro, who plays in Barcelona, played for the Grizzlies. Jose Calderon, top 5 in NBA assists every single year on my Raptors. So, I mean, these guys know how to play in European tournaments. Ari is smiling over there.
Well, it's the next story we're going to talk about.
Right, I know what he's smiling at. But, yeah, Ari, I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm partly saying this because this is radio and this is what I'm supposed to do is kind of cause excitement. But I'm going to say it's going to be a great game, and I'd be honored if you'd watch it with me in my new home.
Sure, no, yeah,
Okay.
we're definitely going to watch it.
Okay.
Might even do some play-by-play just for fun.
Right, we could just practice just for no reason.
Yes. So we'll get to that announcement at the end, by the way, where we're alluded to the end of this program. But before we go to commercial break, I want to talk about a cool story I read about going on with the Olympics, and that is Kerry Walsh Jennings and Misty May Treanor. They sought counseling because there are a team duo in volleyball, obviously beach volleyball, and they knew that there was something a little bit off. They weren't playing the same as they had been. They knew there wasn't anything physically wrong, no physical injuries. And this was a quote from Walsh Jennings. Quote, "We were in a funk mentally. It wasn't physical at all. We were just in a weird place. We lost our way a little bit. I tried to be too tricky. I tried to be tricky again tonight. I made an error tonight. I learned my lesson." And since 2009, they've been working with sports psychologist Michael Gervais, who has worked with NBA players in the past. And they actually, not just Walsh Jennings saw Michael, but May Treanor did as well. So they had joint sessions like marriage counseling. And Walsh said, yes, absolutely, we're married. I have 2 amazing partners, my husband Casey and Misty. You got to work through it. Sometimes you take things for granted. I've known her for so long, but I don't know everything she's thinking. It's important to get on the same page. So they had to reconnect. And, a lot of these players see psychologists. A-Rod saw a psychologist because his father abandoned him when he was 8. Tom Brady saw a psychologist in Michigan because he wasn't getting playing time right away. So he saw a sports psychologist. So it's getting more and more popular to do this. And here we have Olympic athletes doing that together. 2 people together seeing the same psychologist like a marriage counselor. So that was pretty funny there. And actually, I want to play this video. This is Walsh. Now, she's a mom as well, so she has to kind of juggle different things going on. And she obviously works out very well. She's in the Olympics, so she has an elite athlete workout. Let's play this here real quick. And we thank our friends at Yahoo Sports for playing this. Actually,
Entertainment news. From celeb baby bumps to red carpet coverage, you get the ins.
Okay, this is going a little slow. We're gonna skip this right now. But the point of the matter is, she has a very balanced life, and she's getting help to reconnect with her partner. So that's good stuff there. All right, what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a commercial break. And Raphael, who is on the other side? On the other side,
A pretty interesting story here. We're going to have the founder and creator of the Jews for Tebow foundation or group or organization or Facebook page, whatever you want to call it, has 5,000, almost 6,000 likes on Facebook. He updates 24/7. He obviously loves Tebow. He's Jewish. His name is Ike Thaler, also known as Isaac, but he goes by Ike. And we're going to have him on. We're going to talk about Tebow, which we haven't in a while. Talk about his group, because this is, 6,000 likes. We could use that, right, Ari?
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
And very, very good stuff there. So we'll be back with that in a few minutes.
All right, this is Louis Live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
You're tuned in to the only all-sports talk network in the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
This is Tamar Cass, and you're listening to Israel Sports Radio.
Shalom from the United States. I'm Gina Pitts.
Parrish Graham. Mike Pitts.
Roosevelt Hall.
Mike Roy.
We're your friends from the Pro Sports Lives radio show on WAFS Biz 1190 AM. You're listening to Louis Live.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Sports Strain Seat C, compression fit, UV protection, moisture wicking, anti-odor, and physique enhancing. Certified by the Circle K. Sports Strain is a revolutionary seat garment that features high-performance properties and a compression fit, offering the wearer ultimate comfort and style for sports and everyday wear. Custom logos and team jerseys are available. For orders, please visit TamirGoodman.com. That's TamirGoodman.com.
Broadcasting live from Jerusalem. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Support Barak Netanya, Israeli professional basketball team, as they give back to the children of Netanya through Netanya Hoops for Kids. Netanya Hoops for Kids serves all of the children of Netanya, especially the ones that need us most. Through basketball clinics held by professional players, at-risk children learn life skills like teamwork, communication, discipline, and community responsibility from real-life heroes. Netanya Hoops for Kids partners with the municipality, schools, and local nonprofits to bring thousands of children to basketball games each season. Join us as a donor, partner, or fan. One city, one team, one family. www.netanyahoopsforkids.org.
The biggest names in sports are all on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music, and DJ Venom will turn your event into the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
This is Dimitri Salita, and you're listening to IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Building love of Israel, one sports fan at a time. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Back here on Louis Live on Israel Sports Radio, and we had a lot of fun talking European basketball in our last segment. We're now going to call a very cool person. He is in charge of Jews for Tebow, which is a Facebook website that has over 6,000 likes, as Raphael mentioned. And I'm very curious how this group originated. I love the idea. I love the concept. I'm a big Tim Tebow fan. Go ahead, Raphael. Take it away.
I was speaking with Ike.
Hello.
Ike, can you hear us?
Hello. Yes.
Hi,
How you
you're
doing
live
today?
on Louis, live on IsraelSportsRadio.com. Thank you for joining us.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Ike, so many places to go with, but first of all, I want to say I'm a huge fan of Tim Tebow and very disappointed that the media made fun of his religious observance. I like that athlete is legitimately religious, and he doesn't just talk about it, doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. Is the feeling of most people in the group, Jews for Tebow, that they like this guy because he is genuine about his religious principles and his religious beliefs?
Exactly. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we actually formed a group, because obviously I've been a diehard Gator fan forever and ever, and I followed Tebow throughout his career, and even out of college, he seemed to get a bad hand because of his religious beliefs. I don't think it's because of his bad throwing motion, because he's outspoken and he strikes a nerves with all the atheists, all the people that don't agree with it. So that's one of the reasons why I respect him, and most people on our page respect him, because he speaks from the heart. And whether you agree with religious beliefs or not, we respect his right to express it.
This might sound corny, but if more people were like Tebow, I really think the world would be in a better place. And I'll just say that he does great charity work. He seems to have his mind in place of what's important and what's not. Everyone says he's a great teammate, doesn't do trash talking, doesn't do boastful, arrogant type of thing. So I think that's great.
I guess if it's just a population, I think would be Friday nights and Saturday nights out in the town wouldn't be as interesting. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely, he has great morals and values, and I think it's a great example. And so we're proud to be Tebow fans, and that's something special about this kid. It's just not just religion, it's positive, being positive, and it's a good thing.
Do you think maybe the media, and again, I've noticed an anti-media bias, I'm sure you have as well, but you think maybe the media is on him because if the players were all like him, there wouldn't be a lot of juicy news to report on. You wouldn't have someone at 3 a.m. at a strip club bringing out a gun causing problems, because if everyone was like Tebow in the NFL, they'd be asleep by 10 or 11 o'clock at night, getting their rest and getting ready for the games. So you think maybe the anti-media bias comes from the fact, we're scared of this guy. If everyone's like him, we have a huge problem.
Not really. To be honest with you, I do believe the media has. Tebow, in America, Tebow's on TV every time you turn on the NFL Network or ESPN. He's constantly in the news. I have mixed feelings about whether, the media hates him. I think for the most part they're very pro Tim Tebow. It just even with during the 6-game winning streak last year, I mean it was a phenomenon. It was everywhere. It made me choke up just turning the TV on. But the fact is, I think people do support him for the most part because look, he does sell, because some people do put him on. He's an interesting story that obviously people are still interested in. How much coverage when do you ever see a backup quarterback get this much coverage?
Right.
I think the bottom line is it's just a big contrast from the NFL thugs that you hear about getting arrested almost on a daily basis. And I think the media does have a fascination with him. I think people have a fascination with him because he does make people believe more, and I think a lot of people towards their faith, and which I think is a good thing. I don't think that the media would necessarily be concerned about everybody saying a prayer after every touchdown or after every pass, but I think it's a love-hate relationship, basically.
And I'm certainly concerned about the media extra coverage in New York City. I think it might be a bit of a hard place for Tim Tebow because everybody's going to be on him even more than usual. What do you think about that, about him going to New York? Is the pressure going to be a little too much? I mean, we've seen him do all the right things, but he is a human being. Are you concerned maybe he might snap at a reporter or do something a little weird because the New York media coverage is just so intense?
Well, to be frank, I had mixed feelings because I really wanted him. My true wish was for him to come into Miami because I live in South Florida, and to me that would have been, to see him play 8 times a year would have been euphoric for me. But I actually think that I was disappointed that he didn't go to Jacksonville, which would have been, a great story because it's his hometown. But after a couple of days, because I'm a diehard Giants fan for since 1986, and I started to like the Jets. I just I questioned their I guess the locker room morals and what to do it. But honestly, I was very surprised that he went to the Jets. But after a day or two, after everything, I digested everything. I think it's a perfect setting, a perfect story, because the same thing happened with Tebow last year. He's having a bad, quote unquote, a bad training camp. People doubt his abilities. He got booed only in New York. I used to live in New York, and that's the people in New York are rough. If you throw an incomplete pass, you're going to hear it from the crowd.
Right.
But one thing about New York fans, once you earn their faith, and once you actually do something good, they stand behind you. And if it's even possible, I think he's going to be bigger than he was last year. It's just New York is the center of attention of the world almost, and obviously it's a huge media market. When things go well, and I do believe they will go well, whether it's being 2 or 3 or towards the end of the season, I think everybody's going to be behind him, and it's going to be an amazing experience, in my opinion.
Before we go back to his pro career, I want to go into his college career really quick because this argument is spoken a lot in front of my friends, among our friends. Is Tim Tebow the greatest college quarterback of all time. Heisman Trophy winner, 2 titles, could have won a couple of Heismans, really. What do you think as far as college quarterback? Is he the greatest or even the greatest college player of all time?
Well, I don't know if I can give you an objective opinion on that because I'm a hard Gator. I graduated from the University of Florida, and I followed him throughout his career in Florida. I think he is. I think the stats speak for themselves, and more importantly, his accomplishments. I mean, it's not all about, if he had great numbers, and other quarterbacks that have, they've had better numbers and better stats through their career, but the fact is he won 2 national championships. He won the Heisman Trophy Award, and he led the team. I mean, I think he is the greatest college quarterback. Is he obviously going to be, is he going to be seen as the greatest NFL player? That's yet to be determined, but I think college-wise, the numbers speak for themselves, and that's why I was also so shocked and surprised that, the greatest, quote-unquote, the greatest college quarterback enters the NFL, and he's ridiculed, and he gets all this negative attention and feedback, which I don't recall ever. I've only followed the NFL for 25 years. I don't recall ever seeing something like that happen, where such a popular figure, such a productive player gets so much ridicule. But I think it's part of the plan. It drives him to be better, and haters seem to do well. That's expected.
When I first saw this kid in Arizona, because the title game he won the first time around with Florida was in Arizona. He was a third down back then, wasn't the starter. But every time he came in the game against Ohio State, he just couldn't be stopped. They knew they were giving it to him. They knew he was going to run, and they couldn't stop him. So I knew right then there was something special. Now, going back to now where he is now in his professional career in your group, Jews for Tebow, I want to know what was the catalyst for you starting this group, in particular the Jewish aspect of starting this group?
Well, it's a great question. Let me think about that for a second. I've been watching I followed since he graduated, and followed the whole quarterback controversy in Denver. And when he got a chance to start for the first time in Miami, I actually took my kids to the game, and it was a great experience. And then as I started watching the games and the winning streak, I think it was after 4 or 5 games of just amazing comebacks, last minute heroics. I just honestly, I was on, like many people in 2012. I watch my sports with my Facebook these days, so I just end up going on there. There's a couple of Tim Tebow fan club pages that I was watching, and they seem to be very religious themed, and the admins and the owners of the moderators of the pages are Christians. So obviously they share their beliefs and tie it into their belief in Tebow. And I said, you know what, let me do something different. And originally it was almost a joke, but so I started the page, and then I just end up being a way for me to express my fanaticism, and we call it Tebophilia. But it was actually it was very interesting off the bat, and it was very rewarding because I would get people from different religious backgrounds actually supporting what we do, and it's actually surprisingly I would say most of the people on the page are actually not Jewish,
right?
But I thought it would be an interesting form to obviously express a funnier side of Tim Tebow, and we try to not. There's probably a couple dozen Facebook pages about Tim Tebow. Many of them there's some great ones. There's some that aren't as informative, but we try to make it, or like we try to make fun of him sometimes. Not make fun of him. We try to post funny pictures and kind of make it a little bit different.
Yeah, there's some great pictures for.
And I just think it's a great way to also expose people that might not be familiar with some of the Jewish holidays and traditions and Shabbat. We figured to kind of mix the two and kind of and do something a little bit different. And over the year, over the past year or so, actually it's been about maybe 9-10 months, we've had a lot of people ask, is Tim Tebow Jewish? And some people were actually offended because in the beginning we had a picture of Tim Tebow with a kippah on. So that got, some people were very upset about that. But we try to keep it fun and light and, and throw a little, with a little Jewish twist in it every once in a while.
Now, you have some very funny pictures here. There is, you have some great pictures of the Olympian with no legs who's doing well, a picture of a donkey. Then there's a picture of President Obama doing the Tebow. That's Photoshop, though, right?
Tebowing for votes.
Well, sorry, what was that?
He's Tebowing for votes.
He's Tebowing for votes. Okay.
He needs all the help he can get.
Right. So whatever, politicians want to win. But that's a very cool picture as well. Are you ever concerned, though, with your group that people might think that it isn't, that it's a, I want to say this the right way, like a religious group when it's basically Jews who like Tebow? It's not necessarily preaching, it's awareness, if you will. But I would say, when I've looked, it's not necessarily preaching anything about Judaism or other religions. Other people can write what they want on there. But are you concerned that might there be a misunderstanding about what your group wants to do?
I think at times there is. I've had people get really offended and actually cause a lot of trauma by just taking a very, very right-wing approach, very conservative approach, and thinking that, misunderstanding certain comments. Obviously, as a Jewish page who's talking about a pretty outspoken religious figure, a Christian religious figure, you have to be very careful with how you word certain things or people will misinterpret it. We actually end up not posting a lot of pictures, like some of the funny pictures that we want to. I've just found over the past 10 months that, there's certain things that tick people off, and I try to offend. I try to do it tactfully and, hopefully make people smile and laugh every once in a while.
All right.
So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well said. Now, I've asked this question several times on the program, and since you're the founder of this, I'm going to ask you this question about Tebow. What's it going to take for Tim Tebow to start in New York? Does Mark Sanchez need to go 1-3, or will Tebow not start at all this year and simply be the backup for the rest of the season?
I've wondered that. I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. I think there's many scenarios where he could step in. Obviously, the team goes 1-3 if Sanchez struggles. I mean, I think getting Tebow to the Jets is the worst case scenario for Sanchez, which I actually root for the last few years. I mean, but bottom line, I personally think it's going to happen either with God forbid, with an injury, or if the New York fans, once you throw a couple of interceptions and lose a couple of games, they want everything now. And the opportunity, I think, will arise. And I think it's, like last year, I think it will end up being a storybook ending. But then again, even if it doesn't, I mean, there's always the chance that, Sanchez will do well and, people will get a few snaps a game and do something but I just think whether it's this year or whenever it is in the future, the time will come, whether he's a backup quarterback that comes in at the fifth game, and I do believe he will lead the team to the playoffs and farther. So it could be an unrealistic belief, but I truly believe that good things happen to this kid, and he brings positive vibe, and good things seem to happen, whether he has a 47% completion rate or not. He finds ways to win, and things just seem to happen.
All right, and what I'm curious about Tim Tebow personally, has he made any comments about Israel or the Jewish people, whether it be pro or negative? So I want to get that aspect and that side of Tim Tebow.
That's a good question. I've actually looked on the internet. I was afraid of what I would find, actually. But fortunately, I didn't find anything negative, any negative views or comments about Judaism. I've talked to people about this, and people posted on the page many times. Oh, what do you think he really believes about Judaism? It's obviously I have I wonder what he does think. Obviously, he has his own set of beliefs which are based on Christianity. But the way I see it, look, if I was to hear something on the news or read something on the internet that was offensive, and I put down the Jewish faith, obviously my views might change, but I haven't seen it yet. So if he has beliefs, he sticks with it. He's and actually, for the most part, most religious Christians actually do support Israel and Judaism.
Right.
We get a lot of good feedback, a lot of responses, for Jewish-related posts from non-Jewish people. So, I personally think Tim Tebow would be a fan of Jews for Tebow because it's all for the most part it's all positive, and it does communicate good things about him.
Yeah,
so,
people forget some of the biggest fans of Israel, biggest supporters of Israel are Christians, religious Christians. So we're here sitting in Jerusalem. Any support we can get, we're happy to take it. I wanted to know if Tim Tebow has made any comments about these Facebook groups. There's Jews for Tebow, there's Christians for Tebow. As you mentioned, there's a lot of different Tim Tebow groups out there. So has he made any comments on that, or has he contacted you or anyone associated with your group in Jews for Tebow?
He has not. I have not read anything as of yet. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, I know one of the larger Tim Tebow fan club page on Facebook. I know they started doing some promotions and some things with the Tim Tebow Foundation. As of yet, I haven't gotten a phone call myself from Tim just yet. So, and I haven't. He hasn't instant messaged me either. I'm trying to be patient, but I'm not counting on it just yet. Maybe after this season.
Yes, you never know, and who knows? He might could send you some autographed kippahs or kippot or those type of things. Now, you mentioned that you've been a big fan of Florida and that college program. The pros, you mentioned that you followed the Jets, used to root for Mark Sanchez. You said you have for a while. Is that your main team in the pros, the Jets?
No, I'm a diehard Giants fan actually.
Giants, okay.
I'm Israeli. I'm Israeli, and actually I moved to the States in '85. And the first year, actually, that I watched football, the Giants won the Super Bowl.
Right.
And living in New York, obviously, it was a great experience. I've been a diehard fan ever since. So it's been a good past few years. Go Eli Manning and the Giants, but now I guess I have to like the Jets as well.
Right, and now this is Raphael, and I got to tell you, I'm a huge Patriot fan, so we might have some problems, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're a what?
I'm a huge Patriot fan. That's my team.
I mean, I just saw a great picture. I got to send you actually of the Patriots and the Giants' domination over them the last 4 years in the important games. But hey, we can still be friends.
All right, we can still be friends. So I wanted to talk to you about something that's kind of been getting headlines in the Jewish world the last 24 hours, and that is Ali Seidman, who played Havana Gila on her floor routine. I've watched the clip. I actually was watching it. A lot of people in Israel thought it was pretty cool. I've read a lot of random articles from different places, some big newspapers in Israel and then some local newspapers in America. What are your thoughts on a Jewish athlete integrating Judaism to her competition?
Oh wow, that's a very good question because I actually posted a couple of clips on Jews for Tebow about her and saying wishing her mazel tov. Actually, I watched the event probably at 10:45 to 11 o'clock at night here, and when I heard it, at first I said she looks a little Jewish, But when I heard Havana Gila, I just turned up the volume on my TV and I started clapping, and honestly, I got emotional. The Olympics at times bring a lot of pride to me. But I still remember, I forget the guy's name, I think it was about 8 years ago, Carl Friedman, I believe, won the first Israeli gold.
Right.
And the gold medal, and I saw Bob Costas actually introducing this right before midnight in the highlights, and it actually literally brought tears to my eyes, and it really inspired me. So I personally, I was actually surprised. I've looked for a lot about this online. I really did not find too many articles with a Jewish angle with Ali Seidman. I think Israelis, Jews should be proud. Obviously, we don't rack up that many medals, I guess, after Mark Spitz, but I think we should be proud, and I'll be definitely rooting for her. Tebow and everybody I know will be rooting for her.
Right, and who knows?
How about you?
Maybe the Israeli Federation can recruit her. I believe Jillian Schwartz has won a couple medals for the United States team, and now she's playing for the Israel team. and that happens in so many sports, especially basketball. There's a lot of Americans who have Jewish roots, and then they come to Israel and they play for the national team. David Blue played for the basketball team. Alex Tyus, who just converted, who went to Florida. I'm sure you remember Alex.
Unfortunately, I can't say that I did. I do. I don't recognize the name, unfortunately.
He was on those teams right after the big three, I guess, graduated from Florida after they won the back-to-back. His freshman year was, what would it be, 08, 07? He was a 4-year starter. Anyway, he's been playing in Israel, just signed a huge contract in Italy. But he's been playing for the national team right now. He converted to Judaism, the African-American from St. Louis. It's a very interesting story. I've gotten to interview him a couple of times. The next thing I want to talk to you about, there's a lot of interesting stories going into the NFL this year. But Ari and I have been talking about this a lot. What do you think is the main difference between Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III? I mean, we know the style. We know, obviously, Griffin III is more of a pocket guy where Andrew Luck is going to be in the pocket. But what do you expect from them on the field? I've been looking at power rankings. Everyone has the Redskins and the Colts in the bottom, 25 through 32. So how well will these teams improve under their first-year leadership?
I think they definitely will. How much is yet to be determined. Look at Cam Newton last year. I mean, he broke records, all-time rookie records for passing yards and other, rushing touchdowns. But when it came down to W's, wasn't that successful. So it really depends on. I think they're definitely going to provide an impact. Obviously, stepping in and trying to replace Peyton Manning is going to be very difficult. Shoes for him to fill. But I think he'll do well. I saw him play a few times. He has a very strong arm. I think he's definitely going to be a force in the future. But it all depends on what they can put around him. And right now, I don't think we're going to be too stacked in the wide receiver position. So I think they'll get better, but I think it's going to take 2-3 years for them to build a team around him, just like they did with Peyton. And I think he will be a superstar. As far as RG3, as I have mixed feelings about it as a Giants fan, obviously, who lost to the pathetic last year's flight. I think they're definitely going to make him more dangerous. I think that he's obviously more of a running quarterback. He's been compared to Michael Vick, but I think they brought in a couple of better, more well-known receivers. So I think he will have an opportunity to make it. I just personally think that if you're in Washington, I think you're doomed. It's hard for me to see a long-term successful quarterback in Washington, but maybe it's the first.
Oh yeah, they've definitely had a lot of problems there. And when Mike Shanahan was saying that, what was it, Rex Grossman could win with Rex Grossman, I started to think Shanahan maybe is starting to lose his mind. Was it Rex Grossman, John Beck at the middle of the end of the season?
John Beck, and listen, I watched and followed Rex Grossman, when he was a Gator, and obviously he took the Bears to the Super Bowl a few years ago. But he's not. I almost chuckled when I heard him and Beck were fighting over a quarterback position. I was actually thinking of maybe trying out for the team because I thought I might have.
Right.
But,
yeah. That's funny just because I actually know Rex Grossman from his Bloomington, Indiana days because I lived in Bloomington, and I know a lot of people that know him. He won a state championship with the South Panthers, so that's funny that you remember him from Florida. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun, and your group's amazing. We're glad that we found it and that we're able to start now a relationship, and we hope to have you on throughout the season.
Okay, absolutely. I'd love to have it. It's been an honor.
Thank you, Ike. Really appreciate it. Be well out there.
Thanks, Ike.
Right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right. So Ike is the founder of Jews for TiVo, as we mentioned. You can check out the group on Facebook. A lot of great pictures. Some funny ones, as I mentioned, President Obama doing the TiVo. I have a feeling that photo was photoshopped, but it's a great photo to check out. Almost 6,000 likes, so certainly a successful group on Facebook, Facebook-wise. So check that out. If you haven't liked it, you can go ahead and like it. And also like our page as well. If you're from Jews for Tebow listening in, like Israel Sports Radio page.
Check it out. We just kind of restarted it. It's pretty much new. We're working on a lot of big things. We have an announcement for later in the show.
Yes, we certainly do. So we'll get to that. But right now we're going to take a break. And on the other side, we'll talk about the news today, of course, is the last day for the trade deadline in Major League Baseball. So we'll give a recap of the trades that have occurred and talk about possible rumors that need to get done by midnight tonight. This is Louis Live on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
In the Middle East, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
This is Tamar Cass, and you're listening to Israel Sports Radio.
Shalom from the United States. I'm Gina Pitts.
Parrish Graham. Mike Pitts.
Roosevelt Hall.
Mike Roy.
We're your friends from the Pro Sports Lives radio show on WAFS Biz 1190 AM. You're listening to Louis Live.
Broadcasting live from Israel.
IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Sports Drain Seat C, compression fit, UV protection, moisture wicking, anti-odor, and physique enhancing. Certified by the Circle K. Sports Drain is a revolutionary seat garment that features high performance properties and a compression fit, offering the wearer ultimate comfort and style for sports and everyday wear. Custom logos and team jerseys are available. For orders, please visit TamirGoodman.com. That's TamirGoodman.com.
Broadcasting live from Jerusalem, IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Support Barak Netanya, Israeli professional basketball team, as they give back to the children of Netanya through Netanya Hoops for Kids. Netanya Hoops for Kids serves all of the children of Netanya, especially the ones that need us most. Through basketball clinics held by professional players, at-risk children learn life skills like teamwork, communication, discipline, and community responsibility from real-life heroes. Netanya Hoops for Kids partners with the municipality, schools, and local nonprofits to bring thousands of children to basketball games each season. Join us as a donor, partner, or fan. One city, one team, one family. www.netanyahoopsforkids.org.
The biggest names in sports are all on IsraelSportsRadio.com.
DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJ Venom, DJing parties throughout Israel, birthday parties, weddings, club events, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and much more. You pick the type of music and DJ Venom will turn your event to the party of the year. Available Sunday through Thursday. Call 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. That's 052-952-6506 or email djvenom1984@yahoo.com. Book your party today. That's DJ Venom.
This is Dimitri Salita, and you're listening to IsraelSportsRadio.com.
Building love of Israel, one sports fan at a time. IsraelSportsRadio.com.
All right, back here on Louis Live, and we're going to stories to the rest of the program. Interesting story out of the Olympics. The Judo Federation is going to allow a headscarf for a Saudi member of the judo team. And interesting because the moment of silence for the Israeli team was not allowed, but this is going to happen. So I'll read the story here. The Saudi Arabian Olympic Committee and the International Judo Federation came to an agreement over competitor Wojdan Shahrakani wearing a headscarf or a hijab as she competes. Of course, in the Muslim religion, women are required to cover their hair. Shahrakani is one of the first two women to compete for the conservative kingdom, but her participation in the Olympics was put in jeopardy when the federation said last week she couldn't compete wearing the hijab for safety reasons. Now, according to CNN, her father was adamant that she must wear the hijab, and there are reports she would have withdrawn from the Olympics if she was forced to compete without it. Though the Judo Federation is concerned the hijab can be used to injure her, she will wear it in competition, nor will she compete on Friday as planned. No matter what she wears or what she does on the mat, she's a trailblazer for women everywhere. So, interesting story because, I don't recall if a Jewish athlete had an event on a Friday night, I think they would make him perform. Would that be correct, Raphael?
Yeah.
I mean, these...
Yeah, the IOC is pathetic. It's disgusting, and there's just not... They do what they want, and no one stops them, and I'm glad that a lot of people are finally starting to realize that if everyone needs to read the article. I'm going to just talk about this real quick because Ari just got me going. There's an article that was just released on Fox News. It's an op-ed I talked about a little bit yesterday. It's by Guri Weinberg, who is an actor. He's in the Twilight series, for all ladies out there who love the Twilight. And Ari, I don't know if you've read this, but you should check it out right now. It's called Why the IOC Will Never Memorize the 1972 Munich Massacre. And he had a meeting with people in the IOC, and they said to them, we can't do it. And they said, the Israeli families said, why? And they said because Palestinians were killed too. And that's enough said. The fact that they would compare Palestinian terrorists who are killing Israelis to Israeli athletes at the Olympics, that's it. There's nothing really more to say. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what matters. And the fact that they said that to the families when one of the guys was decapitated, thrown off the roof for the media to see, they only did that to make a media ruckus. The IOC saying that the Palestinians died too. I mean, they're terrorists. That's not even the only people who debate that are Arabs in the world. Anyone else would know they are terrorists. They went into the Olympic Village to murder and assassinate the Israelis, and they did. So the IOC, the fact that they're letting this person do that and that person do this and this person that, but they won't give us one moment of silence. Whew.
Yeah, it's certainly frustrating. We're going to play a clip, but this is a video from the...
Coverage of London 2012. Powered by Subway, the official training restaurant of athletes everywhere.
Here. Take a listen. Oh, or not take a listen. Okay, that video has been pulled off. Apologize about that. So, very confusing why, as you mentioned, why the IOC would try to do that. So I don't exactly understand at this point.
Makes no sense that they appeal to some... So maybe the Israel team should have said we won't go to the Olympics. Maybe they would have done that. Probably not, though. They probably would have
just
said,
okay,
stay at home.
stay at home, and you're not going to the Olympics.
It's sad because, I would think about when other things like this happen in sports, then you kind of say, you're going to do this to me, you're going to do that to me, I'm going to go on the court and score 30 points. But the problem is when we do go, we don't show up. That's no disrespect to our athletes. I mean, it sounds like I'm disrespecting our athletes, but it's not. It's that we're a small country, so I wish we were a bigger country and we could just go there and win all these golds and have our national anthem played.
But you made the point, there's 8 million people living in the country, right?
Well,
we still should do a better job.
Yeah, but at the same time, 20% are Arab, and most Israeli Arabs do not participate, or they don't have the foundation to make the Olympics just because of where they're raised in their community. But still, yeah, I think that I think we've won 7 medals in the history of the Olympics. Something like that. I think for a country that's our size, I think it should be much higher. I think you look at countries that are smaller, the same size, they've had a lot more medals. So if you ask people in the IOC of Israel, the Israeli Olympic Committee, people say it's a mess. Like they give more money to that person, give more money to this person. It's like Israel bureaucracy, Ari. When you're going to get this card and that card. I don't know, but it's very sad because this is not okay. And one day, I hope there's a change of leadership in the IOC, and they apologize for all the mistakes that all the previous IOC committees made, and they give them a moment of silence because it's the only time something like this has happened in the event, in the village. I mean, yeah, that's all I can say. I think that'll be the last thing I say about it for until next Olympics.
All right, let's move on to other stories. Matt Barnes, who played with the Lakers the last 2 seasons, really he's bounced around a bunch of different teams. He's played with the Suns, the Knicks, the Sixers, the Kings, the Warriors. Most famously, in my opinion, was when he was with the Magic, and he got into a little skirmish with Kobe Bryant. He faked throwing the basketball at him. Kobe Bryant didn't flinch. It looked like they were going to fight. They did not, and then the next year they were teammates. But Matt Barnes,
also, was he a part of that Golden State 8th seed over Mavericks team?
Yes, in 2007.
Right.
He was part of that team as well. So here he is having a problem. Late Monday evening, he was arrested on an outstanding misdemeanor traffic warrant for allegedly threatening a police officer. So that's not too good. According to the Associated Press, he was arrested as he was walking on a busy thoroughfare in the city about 20 miles southwest of downtown Los Angeles. And the Manhattan Beach Police Lieutenant Steve Tobias said Barnes wasn't cooperative when he was stopped by police and was going to be booked for allegedly threatening the officer, of course, which is a felony. The warrant was for driving on a suspended license. And here's where it gets kind of interesting. He has a couple of big fines. He had a $26,000 warrant that had to be paid. So he had to pay that, and he also had to pay $25,000 in bail. Then he was released from the police department before midnight time.
He got charged with a felony, not a misdemeanor. I mean, this is obviously he didn't say "leave me alone, cop." I think it was a little more
intense than that,
right?
And threats need to be taken seriously, and this threat as well, especially to a police officer, as I mentioned, a felony. So not looking good for the 32-year-old forward with...
he's a free agent. No, it's not even signed by anyone right now.
And I don't think this incident might push him not to be signed by any team.
Right, or he might get signed right before. You never know.
He has some insane tattoos, by the way.
Right.
If you take a look at the picture on Yahoo, all over both his arms and shoulders.
His face, too, or his neck.
Yeah, some of his neck. So
chest.
He's a scary guy to look at. And even if I was a police officer, I might be a little concerned about pulling him over.
Right. Not only that, it's just they think they're better than everyone because they're professional athletes. So.
Ooh. Tell it like it is. I'm going to play this clip. This clip, again, was the Magic versus the Lakers. This was a few years ago. I saw this game when it happened. It was a Sunday night game. Well, in Israel, it was Sunday night. I think Sunday day game in Orlando. I watched it at Hagov, I believe, with Andy, and I noticed this because Barnes and Kobe Bryant were going at it for a long, long time, and then, well, I'll play this clip. Take a listen.
See, I mean, why are they running into each other? Why is Matt Barnes doing that? It doesn't make any sense to me. Unless he thinks he can entice Kobe Bryant to get thrown out.
Either that or there's no way he's going to intimidate. And now a two-shot foul because the foul occurred before the ball was inbounded. Tony Brothers now telling Matt Barnes and Kobe Bryant to knock it off. And he fakes the ball. I mean, somebody in a Magic uniform, even if I'm Stan Van Gundy, I consider.
Rajon Bell's an average player. Why is he going to take crap from average players?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what I like about Kobe. I mean, if it's superstars doing this to him, it's always these punks doing it. If you think of it, it's punks. It's not guys with class, it's punks.
Yeah, Rajon Bell, who played for the Suns, I will admit, is a bit of a punk.
He's got to be concerned.
And I'm going to play this one also because we're moved. This was Game 5, 2006. The Lakers were up 3-2. 3-1. And this was Game 5 in Phoenix, so the Suns needed to win this game and two more, which they did. And this play, the Suns were blowing them out, and they were going at it back and forth. Rajon Bell was complaining to the referees that Kobe Bryant kept elbowing him in the head. Phil Jackson apparently said to him, quote, "You effing deserved it." So the next play, Rajon Bell had a little surprise, and then some words for Phil Jackson.
About a possible suspension in Game 6, because remember now, Haslam was suspended for throwing his mouthpiece at a referee. Right. And you also had, remember, Posey on the foul against Heinrich. So the Suns have got to hold their breath. But if there's a Game 6 that Rajon Bell does not face a suspension,
his neck, throw him down, and then he walked over Phil Jackson.
That is not the time to make a play like that. It's a 13-point game, 7.5 minutes.
Suspended for Game 6. Lakers almost won that game as it went to overtime, but the Suns were able to pull it out. Tim Thomas hit a big three-pointer. But anyways, that's a little story of Matt Barnes and reminds us of Rajon Bell. Before we go to commercial break, talk about the trade deadline, which is tonight. That'll be, I believe, midnight Eastern time. Here are some of the trades that have occurred throughout this season. Your Blue Jays got Steve Delabar.
Yeah, they got nobody. You can move on to the next trade.
They gave up Eric Thames to the Mariners.
Right.
Dodgers get Brandon Lee.
Good outfielder, actually. But
Eric Thames, yes.
Yeah.
Brandon League goes to the Dodgers. The Mariners get for him Leon Landry and Logan Bockham. Okay. Pirates get Travis Snyder in return for sending Brad Lincoln to your Blue Jays.
Travis Snyder, I got to comment, was an up-and-coming player in the system who never could make it. Has been battling between AAA Las Vegas and the Jays, so it was time to let him go. He'll probably be a good player on Pittsburgh.
Once he leaves Toronto?
I like to think of it this way, Ari. You know who came from Pittsburgh? Jose Bautista. So maybe now we'll give him back another young gun.
Huh. Interesting thought. And with that lineup in Pittsburgh and a better ball club competing for a division in the Central, maybe Travis has something to play for and play a little bit better. The Rangers get Giovanni Soto for giving up
trade.
For the Rangers. All they had to do was give up a double-A pitcher to the Cubs.
Right, I think of All-Star, former All-Star, well-known player on the Cubs. The Cubs made a lot of moves, of course, under the new management of our boy
Theo
Epstein. Yeah, Epstein.
Braves get Reed Johnson and Paul Mahome, and in return they gave up Arodys Vizcaíno and Jay Chapman to the Cubs.
Reed Johnson, guy who's played on a lot of teams, a lot of the Cubs, Blue Jays, a lot of teams. Kind of one of those outfielders who you can count on maybe for 100 at-bats a year. So a good addition to the Braves team that's trying to make a playoff chase.
My Diamondbacks get Chris Johnson, and in return they had to give up Bobby Bochering and Mark Cross to the Astros.
Can't comment about that one.
All right. I know Mark Cross is a pretty good player, but I think the Diamondbacks made the right move against Chris Johnson. The A's acquired George Kataris and give up Fatino de los Santos to the Milwaukee Brewers.
I actually read about that trade. It's supposed to help Oakland. Billy Beane is always, doing his thing to help this team. They're competing, Ari. They have one. I think they have the best record since the All-Star break. They're 4 games out of the division. It's suddenly a division of Texas. This is an awesome division. I think it's better now than the AL East this year because the AL East teams, after the Yankees, everyone's only 2 or 3 games over 500. This AL West now is the Rangers, who are very competitive. Obviously, the Angels, who started horribly. Mike Trout has been the MVP of the AL for sure. I don't think anyone's been close. He's also, 22 years old, 21 years old.
You think over Josh Hamilton, Mike Trout has been?
The Josh Hamilton who's hitting 150 for 2 months? Absolutely.
Okay.
Josh Hamilton's hitting 285 and has had 4 home runs in the last 2 months, I think. So, yeah, definitely. Not to mention Mike Trout did what Albert was supposed to do, right, Ari? He came in and
we don't speak about that name.
Right. Don't speak. I forgot.
Albert who?
Albert who? Yeah, he hasn't played that well this year. Just like Alex Rodriguez, only 15 home runs. It's looking like he's not going to hit 30, which is not good for
Poor
them.
Albie.
Because how many years do the Yankees have left with him?
Go back to the Alex Rodriguez.
$27 million at
they
6.
They should have avoided that contract.
So should have the Angels. They have 10 more years of that contract.
Well, but there's no proof that Albert Pujols cheated. A-Rod did.
Right. Still, cheating, not cheating. At the end of the day, you want to win. Let's be honest. I mean,
no, but it said you can't void a contract because all of a sudden the player sucks. You could void a contract.
Oh, I was saying void. I'm just saying it's a contract you don't have to deal with.
Right.
Especially not only that, but you have to pay him. They should
have put it in his clause, in A-Rod's clause, that if he's caught cheating or caught with any type of steroid use, that the contract is voided. Because once he's going back to being clean, you see that he's not the same player when he won those 3 MVPs. In 2007, he had 57 home runs. So as you mentioned, had 15.
Old. That's my. Still. Also, it doesn't help he's old and been injured. But we'll see. Anyway, all right.
Going on, the White Sox acquire Francisco Liriano from the Twins. They give up Eduardo Escobar and Pedro Hernandez.
How about these Twins? They used to be the cream of the class in this division. Now suddenly it's become a Tigers thing. But the White Sox, a new manager this year, Guillen leaves from Marlins. I think the White Sox are in the top 2. They're having a great year. So good for them. For Francisco Liriano, what was it, Ari? A couple of years ago, he was supposed to be the top young pitcher. Then he tore his or had Tommy John. Hasn't been the same since. But a very good pitcher to get for nothing.
Well, Tommy John sometimes ruins careers. I mean, John Smoltz had it, then he came back as a reliever and was great and got a lot of saves.
Right. Steven Strasburg's been doing fine with
but it affects everybody differently. And Liriano's case, as you mentioned, not the same pitcher. So certainly a shame about his career, but the White Sox are going to give him a chance and see what he can do. Going to the National League National League hasn't done a lot of trades, it seems like. These are mostly, no,
it's been
more of a mix. Okay.
This is a big trade, too, the next one.
Yes, this one, the San Francisco Giants acquire Marco Scutaro. They give up Charlie Culberson to the Colorado Rockies.
Scutaro, shortstop on the Jays, Red Sox, A's, a lot of good teams. So what's the problem, Ari, with San Francisco? They've always had very good pitching, always these star pitchers, but they never have hitting. So a good trade to make a run with the Dodgers. They're competing with the Dodgers right now.
All right, and the Los Angeles Angels this is a big trade. Former Cy Young winner with the Royals. They get Zach Greinke from the Brewers. Don't give up that much, in my opinion. They give up John Segura, Johnny Helweg, and Ariel Pena. So I think they got the better of that trade, and that could push the Angels past the Rangers and first place in the West if Zach can pitch like he did in his Cy Young year with the Royals.
Now, look at this Brewers team, though. All right, they're falling apart. I mean, Prince Fielder leaves. Ryan Braun, that whole steroids MVP. They just fired their bullpen coach. They have the worst bullpen in the league this year. They're not competing this year. Last year they were considered that, this could be the new hot team in baseball that could be good. Now they're back to normal Brewer-style baseball. It's very sad. They got rid of Greinke. I don't know, how do you get rid of your ace? It's showing up you're giving up. This is 1 year after they went deep in the playoffs. So, poor Brewers, I guess, is all I have to say.
All right, and going on to the next one, this was a huge trade. This might be the biggest trade of all of them.
Yeah.
Hanley Ramirez. So far, yes. Right. There could be some more in the next waning hours of the trade deadline. But Dodgers acquire Hanley Ramirez and Randy Choate from the Miami Marlins. All they give up is Nathan Eovaldi and Scott McGough. Hanley Ramirez, big contract, so Miami doesn't have to pay that contract anymore. This is a guy that won the World Series of 2003, has amazing talent, but last year struggled, kind of had an off year, has a lot of attitude issues. Do you like that trade for the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Yeah, I think it's a good trade. Was Hanley on that 03 team? Isn't Hanley much younger? You thinking of someone else? Yeah, check that out.
I'm going to double check that.
I thought he was younger. But yeah, no, everything Ari said is true. This team needed hitting, but the thing I got to ask, Ari, I want to ask you this: how did the Marlins give up so quickly on that? They went on a huge spree. They were going to trade. Rumors are that Heath Bell was on the block, Hanley Ramirez was on the block. All these guys are on the block. Josh Johnson is still on the block, their star pitcher. So what happened? Are they done spending? I mean, was this a one-time thing? I don't really understand how they traded Hanley. I know there's been a ton of discipline issues there, so I'm not really sure what happened. It was a 3-4-time All-Star, a good player. Underrated, of course, because he was in the Marlins and no one really watches. But
even in Florida, they don't watch those games.
Right. So, Ari, what happened to the spending of the team? And why did they get rid of him so quickly?
Well, first, I need to make a correction. You're right. I confused him with another ball player who hit his 300 home run for the Marlins. And so you're right. Hanley Ramirez was not on the 2003 team. He actually came up with the Red Sox, and here's some of his numbers, by the way, career-wise. 300 average, 148 home runs, over 1,100 hits, almost 500 RBI, and over 200 stolen bases. 2008, he was the batting champion.
Right, not bad.
For the Marlins, we know that when they won the 2 World Series, they went on a spending spree, brought in a lot of high guns and talent. 1997 had Gary Sheffield and Bobby Bonilla and Moises Alou. Livan Hernandez was the star player in the playoffs.
Right.
And then once they won the World Series, they had a fire sale and got rid of everybody.
Right, same as 03?
Same as 03. Got rid of Josh Beckett as well, right.
Who was that one pitcher they had, who had the crazy...
A.J. Burnett?
No, the crazy windup. One Rookie of the Year.
Oh.
Was on the Tigers.
Dontrell Willis.
Dontrell Willis, right. And he just retired, I believe. So that's sad. But anyway, go on, all right.
Well, so I guess it looks like this is the same thing we're having, is that they're having another fire sale for some reason.
But
why would they do it? They haven't won anything.
Our show in April, we were talking about how they were spending so much money and how this is a new tradition down there and they want to win. They have a new ballpark. Meanwhile, they're trying to get rid of Johnson, Heath Bell. They did get rid of Hanley, so it's almost rebuilding. Maybe they just know that they're a better team with the guys who don't get paid a lot of money. It's possible they could have a worse record this year with all these additions, all these $200 million they spent. So it's sad. I was very, very excited to see Hanley Ramirez and Jose Reyes. That could have been the best duo. Third base shortstop or second base shortstop third base shortstop in the league. And now it's over. Good for the Dodgers. Think of it this way: Andre Ethier, Kemp, and now Hanley Ramirez. That all different style. There's power. There's average. There's everything now. So I mean, huge trade for the Dodgers. And Good for them, honestly. Good for them.
And by the way, Hanley was involved with the Josh Beckett trade of 2005. I forgot about that.
Right.
Interesting stuff.
Big news out of Boston just being reported right now, if I may, Ari.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Red Sox will not be trading Josh Beckett. I know yesterday we spent some time talking about that. Pretty much, Ari, I think it said no one wanted him for that money.
Right. You would have to eat that contract, and no one was interested in eating that big of a meal.
Yeah, and sometimes you have those guys like Cliff Lee is this year is 1 for 6 with a 3.5 ERA, but it's still a 3.5 ERA. Josh Beckett, his ERA has been bombed for almost 3 seasons now. He's had back problems. It's almost like, there's not even worth taking a chance. He's just going to have to slug out his contract with the Red Sox. I think we're going to see a lot. I mean, this Red Sox team next year can be completely different. New manager, new players. There's so much talent on the team, which is scary. Is why it's so weird. You look at Pedroia, Ellsbury, Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez. So those are 4 not superstars, but stars. Adrian Gonzalez is a superstar, in my opinion.
No, for sure. Adrian Gonzalez was an MVP candidate last season. So
right, 330 all year. So big stuff there. All right, go. I think there are more big trades.
Yeah, a couple more trades here. Ryan Roberts goes to the Tampa Rays, and in return they send Tyler Bortnick to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Right, and then the Rays are also trying to figure out what they're doing. They're 3 games out of the wild card right now. No one's winning the AL East this year, but the Yankees are way ahead. I think it'll be interesting. The next trade, big trade for the Pirates. Let's give the Pirates some love. They're competing right now.
Yes.
You asked me yesterday if I'd rather take Josh Hamilton or Andrew McCutchen, and the Pirates are doing great, and it's great for the city of Pittsburgh because
they haven't been in the playoffs since 1992.
Right,
and not just that, they've had a losing season since.
Right,
since Barry Bonds left.
Yeah, this year they could change. I mean, AJ Burnett seems like he needed to get out of that Yankees spotlight. He was pretty solid as a Blue Jay. We signed him for a lot of money, 11 years, $55 million, I believe. And he's done a great job with the Pirates. And Wendy Rodriguez is a great player. He's been a great pitcher for Houston, kind of was their number 1 pitcher the last few years. So good for the Pirates. They're finally. I mean, this is good. It's good for baseball to see the Pirates making noise, and I think we might see them in the playoffs this year as a wild card. That's just.
Well, the complaint was when you talk about the big markets and all the money they have was teams like Pittsburgh couldn't compete, couldn't have a chance. And this year they're finally having a chance, so it is a great story. And speaking of the Pirates, they acquire Wendy Rodriguez, and they give to the Astros. They send Robbie Grossman, Rudy Owens, and Colton Kane.
Mm-hmm.
So
no disrespect to those guys, but that was
probably a trade for Pittsburgh's advantage, getting Rodriguez.
Houston Houston's been horrible for us. When was that Carlos Beltran year?
I think 05 they made it to the World Series.
Right, and
they got swept by the White Sox and really haven't been relevant too much since.
No, it's sad because it used to be a very proud franchise.
Bagwell and Biggio.
Right. And
Roger Clemens played for a few years. Andy Pettit played.
Even last year, they got rid of a couple of guys. Hunter Pence. They're getting. It seems they're completely 100% rebuilding. So interesting to see what happens there.
All right, and going back to the American League, the Cleveland Indians acquire Brent Lillibridge. They send Jose De La Torre to the Boston Red Sox.
Right, not a big trade there. Just acquiring more depth for the Indians. Indians also another surprise team this year, right?
Yep, and there's still a lot more to go here. Okay,
Ichiro, of course.
Yes, Ichiro is the next one here. And the Seattle Mariners send Ichiro Suzuki for DJ Mitchell and Danny Farquhar. Obviously, that was a situation where they were getting fair value, but they were just trying to get something back in the Seattle Mariners. Great trade for New York, certainly win there. And would love to see Ichiro in the World Series for the first time in his career. Got to the ALCS in 2001 when the Mariners had that great record of 116 wins, but lost to the Yankees in 5 games.
Right, and we're going to actually try and get our friend Dave Sims, the play-by-play announcer for the Mariners, on at some point to talk about that because he's been the play-by-play guy for the Mariners for a long time. We're friends with him on Facebook. We follow him. He was not, I mean, I don't want to say devastated, but this was very sad for him to see kind of the only reason that made the Mariners relevant the last few years gone.
Right.
They're really rebuilding. He was very fun on our show last time. Ari and I interviewed him.
Very entertaining, yes.
So we're going to try and get him on. But go ahead, Ari, because when you're finished, there's some breaking news or some stuff going on I want to announce. So go ahead.
The Detroit Tigers acquire, we have an interleague trade here, Anibal Sanchez and Omar Infantani, also the number 37 pick in the 2013 draft.
Right.
And they send out to the Miami Marlins Jacob Turner, Rob Brantley, Brian Flynn, and the number 73 pick for the 2013 draft.
Another big trade, yeah, absolutely.
So interesting how they worked out the draft picks and why those particular numbers, but that was settled. The news, Chicago White Sox acquired Brett Myers, and they send Matt Hengerak and Blair Walters to the Houston Astros. Astros involved in a couple of trades.
Look at my Jays. My Jays have been the most active team in the trade deadline. You can look it up.
Well, and here's a trade. Speaking of the Astros,
trade.
Speaking of the Blue Jays, big trade between both ball clubs. The Blue Jays get J.A. Happ, Brandon Lyon, and David Carpenter, and they send out 7 players to the Astros.
Right.
Francisco Cordero,
right?
Yeah, Francisco Cordero, Brent Francisco, Asher Wojciechowski, Carlos Perez, Joe Musgrove, David Rollins, and a player to be named later.
Poor J.A. Happ, though, Ari. This guy was the guy traded from the Phillies to the Astros for Hunter Pence, so now he's gone back. But this guy, remember, on the Phillies was considered the star young pitcher, but they said they didn't need him because they had Halladay and all those guys. So the Blue Jays were happy to have him. Very exciting for the Jays.
And Royals involved with some trade mix. They acquire Jeremy Guthrie, and they send Jonathan Sanchez to the Colorado Rockies.
Another big trade, but yeah.
Atlanta gets Paul Janish, and they send Todd Redmond to the Cincinnati Reds.
This is a big trade too, Ari. Carlos Lee trade.
And, Carlos Lee goes to the Miami Marlins from the Astros. So, again, the Astros probably getting rid of their best player.
Right, and to really to be with Jose Guillen, there's a good connection there.
And the Miami Marlins give up Matt Dominguez and Rob Rasmussen to, again, the Astros, as we mentioned. Jim Thome, he's still playing, still kicking.
He's still doing his, top 15 in home runs?
He's top 6, I believe.
Top 6. Really?
Yeah, well, I'm going to double check in a moment, but just to have you talk about the trade, Jim Thome goes to the Orioles from the Phillies. The Phillies get Gabriel Lino and Kyle Simon.
Right, big move for the Orioles because they're able to acquire a bat that could help them out, a veteran, a guy who can help. I mean, this team can make the playoffs this year. It's very possible. Oh, yes. Wow, 611 home runs.
Right, Jim Thome has 611 home runs. And
Michael, how many All-Star appearances are he? Mike O'Donnell's the most underrated player in baseball history.
At least in the last 20 years, without question.
Right.
But he's made it to 5 All-Star teams, but he's led the NL in home. He led the NL home runs in 2003.
Right.
And led the LA in walks, so he's walked out 3 times. 97, 99, 2002 led the whole league.
I want to hear, Ari, last question for me for you. How I get so mad when people compare him to Adam Dunn because it's so rude.
Adam Dunn's not in his league.
No.
Jim Thome is 7th on the all-time home run list with 600 and 611 home runs.
Right. That's amazing. How many hits?
Over 2,300 hits.
Right.
Almost 1,700 RBI.
Yeah, so a lot of strikeouts.
277 batting average, which is good for a power hitter, but you're right, a lot of strikeouts. But
still, Hall of Famer, first ballot,
Without
hope.
question. Without question.
Right.
Especially if he didn't juice, I feel so bad for him because he would be like with Ken Griffey Jr., with one of the players that really got under the whole juice thing.
You look at him, and he has an interesting body for a 41-year-old. Got to admit that. Very big guy, and he's not getting bigger, or he's not getting smaller. So I don't know. Interesting thing. We'll have to show on the show tomorrow. Amazing viral photo of Barry Bonds leak showing how tiny he is. I don't know if you've seen that, Ari.
Well, I remember those photos when he was in Pittsburgh in 91, 92.
He's back to it now. It's crazy. He's tiny. Looks like a normal human being again. But Ari Louis, the last big. It sounds good for Jewish people, for Israel Sports Radio.
Yeah, Kevin Youkilis traded for the Boston Red Sox to the White Sox. White Sox send Zach Stewart and Brett Lillibridge to Boston.
Right, big trade there for the White Sox, and Uke's been great since he's been on the White Sox, hitting over 300. Just real quick before Ari ends it, some news out of the Olympics. The Americans right now are doing great with some women's Olympic soccer. Canada ties Sweden. USA is beating Korea right now. Everyone wants to know how the USA women are doing. Trade deadline, Shane Victorino might be on the move to the Dodgers, Ari. So another bat for the Dodgers. Penn State fans are trying to do whatever they can to rally this team, and even though none of the freshmen will ever play in a bowl game. And, kind of big college basketball news before we end. Bruce Pearl, who's a former Jew, current Jew, a former Tennessee basketball coach and Maccabi Games coach, will be Ari Louis, 2 former fired Jewish coaches, Seth Greenberg and Bruce Pearl, will be joining ESPN as college basketball analysts. So that's pretty interesting.
Nice. I like
2
that.
successful Jewish coaches, actually. Bruce Pearl got fired for NCAA stuff, and Seth couldn't do that well at Virginia Tech, but still is a very good coach. Also, both Maccabi coaches, so they want to represent being Jewish. That's it for me with college basketball.
And before we go and thank our guest, a big announcement as we teased yesterday on the program. We're pleased to announce that this season, thank God, we will be broadcasting the home games for Baruch Netanya, the Israeli Super League.
Right.
We met with the owner, David Kohlberg, last Thursday, and he gave the thumbs up on the proposal. So we're very, very excited about that. We expect all of you to tune in and listen to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
In October.
We'll start in October, and we'll go as long as the team extends into the postseason.
May 15th. Hopefully, last year they were in the bottom of the playoffs. This year, hopefully they'll be in the top. It's the top 7.
But they make the Final Four a few years ago?
They did, and still waiting to hear what Adrian's doing. Everyone in Israel knows who he is.
Adrian Banks. It looked like he was going to leave the team. Now he might stay. He was the leading scorer last season. So they barked. And a pillar of the community in Netanya, so certainly the team wants him to stay.
Yeah, and sources, Eurobasket, are saying, but we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. A lot of talk about him leaving, wanting to play European basketball. Raymar Morgan, former Michigan State star, is signed with the team for next year, coming off messed up knee. Suffered with Ashkelon. So, yeah, as Ari said, very exciting stuff. And
it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I love doing play-by-play.
Right.
I did it for the IFL for the postseason. And this will obviously be a whole new other level because it is professional basketball. It's the best league. I mean, like you talked about, Maccabi Tel Aviv, probably the best team outside the NBA.
We heard it from, we number between 30 and 35. We heard it from someone in Serbia, how much he respects Maccabi. So this is not just Israeli bias. Very well-respected team. Tomorrow on the show, it's awesome to start off with Jim Williams. I don't think I've ever done that before, to start off with him. Then Dave Gershman, not Andy's brother. Not his brother. He's a writer for ESPN Florida. We're going to talk about the Marlins
and all their trades.
All their trades.
What are they thinking? What are they doing?
Right. Terry Moss, an amazing story, one of the best woman boxers in the world. Ari, that'll be your interview.
I love boxing.
I will not be doing that. Then, very exciting thing to announce. I haven't announced this to Ari, so I'm going to announce it now. Nitzan Peled is a reporter for Sport 5, which is Israel's ESPN. He is going to start joining us at least once a month, maybe once every week, to discuss Israeli basketball and soccer. So we're now going to have our own Israel sports correspondent. Very excited to have him, a huge reporter. Everyone in Israel knows him. It's going to be a pleasure to have him on. He covers, like I said, basketball and soccer. And we're going to end the show with our good friend from Philadelphia, Ari Bluestein.
Great stuff. So that's tomorrow's show. Before we end, let's thank everyone that came on today's program.
Right, and we started off at 11 a.m., 6 p.m. here with Max Unger, who is going to be playing college baseball. He will not be going to MLB. Good for him. Education comes first, and we wish him the best of luck. And we talked to him about what it was like to be called and be announced that he was going to be a draftee. So also from Washington, D.C. area, being drafted by the Reds or by the Nationals, very big deal there. After that, we had the pleasure of speaking with Ilya Kovac, who is from Serbia, about European hoops, the NBA, Olympic hoops, Serbian basketball, EuroLeague basketball. We're going to have him on now throughout the European basketball season. Ari and I are going to become very big supporters and followers of European and Israeli basketball, since we're going to be doing the play-by-play. So it's going to be great to have him on. He's a very well-known and respected journalist in Europe and especially in Serbia. And then we had on Ike Thaler, who is the
founder of Jews for Tebow.
Right. Really great idea, and it's just amazing to see what everyone's doing, with different social networking. I started a Twitter thing about Middle East news, and Ari and Andy and Josh started Israel Sports Radio. So everyone's kind of doing their own thing. So it's great to see how he's been. And then Ari and I just went through all the trades, and I'm sure tomorrow there'll be a lot of stuff because tonight is when it gets juicy.
Right. There are going to be a bunch of right at the deadline trades. They have to get them all in. So, we read probably 25 trades.
Right,
I expect
at
least 10 more.
Right. And could be some big ones. Cliff Lee is on the market. They're trying to get rid of him, and we know a team like Texas is willing to spend will do it. Anaheim, do you think, Ari, they can add that kind of money after what they did this offseason?
I don't know if they have that in the bank account, but you never know, they can get some type of deal to join Mike Trout and company.
Who else the Yankees might be able? They could use a pitcher right now. Despite them not having that great of a year, they're still, I think, one of the best records in baseball. As I said, AL East is struggling right now. The best team is, I think, 4 games over 500 after them. So that helps my Jays that we're in the hunt. 2 wild cards this year as well, let's not forget. Then, of course, next week we're going to be having David Weissman on our show again to talk about the last week of the Olympics, what he expects from the Israelis. And that's really great to have someone on, an expert who's a journalist who knows about the Israeli team. So a lot of exciting stuff. As we mentioned yesterday, working on getting our good friend Tommy Smith on to talk about the Premier League. Mark Stein, I know right now, is in London covering the USA basketball team, so we'll have to wait until he comes back. Jerry Coleman, Harvey Fromer, all those people are coming up. And big new guys, Fred Clare, some reporters from CBS Sports. So it's going to be a big month. You should stay with us.
All right, so great stuff. And you heard about the show tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for tomorrow night at 6 p.m. local time. But that's it for tonight. God bless and good night.